Hello, everyone. Hello. Good evening. Youthspark Pan Africa. Good evening, people. How are we all doing? I want to see that we have people on the call. So please, if you can hear me, kindly drop a message. Please do that in the comment section. Please, I want to be sure that people can hear me and they can see me. Hello, change makers. Hello. Let me see that you are here with us. I'm so sorry. I really apologize. Honestly, I really apologize that we're starting a little late. I'm so sorry, and thank you for joining. We're so glad and grateful that you are here with us. So please, if you can hear me now, if you can see me, please kindly drop a comment so that I know the people are here with us. I see that we have QC MedTech from Nigeria, West Africa. Thank you so much for coming. Who else is here? Who else is on the call? Yes, Speed News Limited. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And yes, that name Speed News really sounds familiar. If you're in Lagos and you don't know Speed News, in fact, if you're in Nigeria, you don't know Speed News. I don't know. I don't know where you're eating from, but honestly, that name is very familiar. If you know the Igwe twins, you will know about that organization. Thank you so much. Logic, I hope I got that right. Pardon me just in case I didn't get it right. Please pardon me. Thank you so much for coming. You want to also drop in the comment section where you're joining us from. Please drop in the comment section where you're joining us from, so that I can get to acknowledge you. Thank you so much for being on the call, for joining this live session. Like I said, I already apologize that, we're starting a little late. Thank you, Jake, for that feedback. I love that people are here and people are ready to learn and people are already, waiting to receive. Our founder is going to join us really soon. Hi, Precious from Nigeria. Thank you so much. It's great to have you on the call. Thank you so much. I know we are quite a number of us here. I'd seen that we had a lot of us that were already waiting even before we started this session. So please, if you're just joining us, let's know your name. Let's know where you're joining us from so that we can begin the conversation of today. Like you already know, you must have seen from the flyer what we're talking about, during this event. We're talking about the African digital workspace. And, we're going to be engaging, different people that are going to be talking about starting and growing a business in a volatile global market. I'm sure that you know how the economy is right now. And there's no better time for this conversation than now. Honestly, there's no better time for this conversation than now. So you want to really ensure that you are here. Yay! I have Dr. Ella. Hi, Dr. Ella. How are you doing today?
I'm doing absolutely amazing. Good evening, good afternoon, depending on the time you're joining us. Hi, Mary. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for coming on the call. And of course, you look beautiful and radiant as always.
Thank
As always.
you.
Thank you so much. Before you came on board, I was already talking about what the subject of the conversation today is going to be on. It's going to be about, African digital workspace, workplace, and how people can build and grow business in this volatile global market. And I love what you're already doing, for non-profit in the artificial intelligence space. And I don't know if we can, actually start that conversation from here. By the way, our guest is still going to join us. Our founder is also still going to join us. So we don't want anyone to go nowhere. I see the comment section is buzzing. I'm sorry, Dr. Ella. Let me just quickly acknowledge,
Sure.
everyone who is commenting. Hi, Deborah from Lagos. We see you. Yes, she says, feel great to be here. We see you and we acknowledge your presence. Speed Miss is saying, welcome, Dr. Ella. Of course,
Thank
welcome,
you.
Dr. Ella. So Dr. Ella, let's just start the conversation, before Mr. Raymond joins us on the call.
Sure.
How has it been so far, with your work, with non-profits, and your introduction to AI, bringing AI to them. Of course, in this time and age, AI seem to be, the happening thing. It's like that's what is on the lips of everybody these days, right? So what are you going to say? How important is the should I say inclusion of AI into our work, even either as non-profit, also as profit making businesses? Because I know that a lot of people on this call, are for profit, okay, not only for non-profit. So what would you say about that?
Thank you so much, Mary, for that amazing question, and kicking off the conversation with that
Mm-hmm.
AI. Okay, so working with nonprofits,
Mm,
I run a comms agency where we help nonprofit organizations and social enterprises to leverage digital media and
mm-hmm.
technology for growth. And when we talk about a volatile environment or market,
Mm,
talk about nonprofits too and how they are struggling to actually respond at this time, with all of the economic meltdown that is happening. Um, and so when it comes to AI and how it's
mm,
beneficial, not just for nonprofit, but also for profit businesses, I think one thing that I would say is um, efficiency and also cutting costs,
I love it. Mm,
because in the marketplace right now, things are
mm-hmm.
quite difficult, to be honest.
True.
And so, with the use of AI tools, you are sort of able to cut costs. So, some things that, or some tasks, or some roles that normally you would have to employ, an extra hand or get someone else to help you to carry out
Mm,
that activity or do
mm,
that task. You are able to use AI to make life easier for you, and so you are sort of reducing your cost of operations. So
that's
take, for
good.
example, content creation. For
Mhm.
someone like me who wears so many hats,
Of course,
imagine
of
if
course.
I am having to still think about content creation, even though Hexamedia has a comms manager that handles it, but also for she herself having to handle so many activities, behind the scenes and do a lot of things. AI sort of helps her to make work easier, right? And I started off with content creation because that's like the barest minimum. That's what
Mm-hmm.
everyone uses AI
Mm-hmm.
for right now.
That's right.
But beyond content creation, I think data is also something that AI is able to help us with at this point, because when you're working in any market space or any industry that you are in, you need to be able to gather data that would help you make better decisions, right? So with AI, you are able to generally put all of the information that you have gotten and not manually try to get the statistics, the figures, and measure and evaluate. You can use AI tools to just speed up the process, right?
Mm,
And
mm,
get things done easier and make better decisions. So I think for profit and non-profit,
mm,
data driven decisions, leveraging
mm,
AI,
mm,
automating tasks, content creation,
mm.
all of these actually help, especially in this market that we find
Great,
ourselves.
great. Thank you so much, Dr. Ella. I love that you'd mentioned, data, in the conversation, that we already started.
Mhm.
I love that you had mentioned data, but one of the things I also would like to know is, for African businesses, right? How can we begin to leverage data analytics, right, for decision making process, right? You know how we get data for different things, the demography of the people, of the customers you are attending to, some of the needs, the things that they really need. Okay, how can we begin to leverage those things, to inform the decisions we make, as business owners, in order to cater for the needs of our customers and clients?
Thank you so much. I think one thing that business owners need to understand is,
Mm,
and I think I've also learned this along the way on the journey.
mhm, mhm,
My business is not 5 years yet, will be 5 years next year, but I have
very
learned a
well,
lot
very
on
well.
the way, especially when it comes to data. So it's one thing to know your audience, it's
Mhm.
another thing to know what the audience likes,
I love it.
right?
That's right.
And
That's right.
even when you know what they like or what they prefer changes over
Mm.
time. Their preferences change over
Sure.
time.
Sure.
So you need
Mm.
to know the target audiences you're catering to, what they
Mm-hmm.
like, and also begin to watch the trends over time so that you will know when something needs to change, when you need to pivot, when you need to suppress some services or some products. And this
Mm.
can only be done when you started gathering this data. And one very, very simple way of gathering data is from testimonials, right?
Mm.
Feedback. And not just the feedback from WhatsApp groups or from how was your experience with the product.
You have to go there. You have to go there,
I'm
Dr.
sorry.
Ella.
I'm sorry.
We just started this. I don't want you to start breaking tables. We just started. Really, let's have a soft landing. Let's have a
Okay.
soft landing.
I'm going to be nice.
Oh
but
my
but
God.
to be honest, not just
Mm,
those kind of information, right? One
mm,
thing that, for example, I'm sure you know Go Nomad,
yeah.
and he's one of our speakers, Uke, the founder of Go Nomad. One thing that Go Nomad does very well is to get in touch with their customers
Mm,
and keep hearing from them constantly. What attracted you to our product?
mm.
Would you recommend this product to someone else?
I love it.
What exactly made you stay? Because there is one thing, we're able to attract people, we're able to get them to purchase or
Mm,
and get our products or services,
mhm.
but it's just a few of them that actually
But
stay, and
yeah,
there's a
we're
reason
not
for
able to
them staying.
retain that retaining power.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So you need to find out what made those ones stay so
Mm,
that you can actually replicate the process across board for your clients. So
mm,
earlier when we started Hexa Media, we used to offer social media services, social media
mm,
management services. That was like how we first of all started. But then my target audience, nonprofit social enterprises, started asking for more stuff.
more.
But before
Mm,
I decided to introduce all of these services or all of these products, I
mhm,
needed
mhm,
to do my research, right? I started
mm,
asking questions. So it's not because they are making a request, they are asking for it. That doesn't mean they are going to be able to pay for it, right? It's not all
mm,
services that you're going to also just bring out because people are
mm,
making a request for it, because
mm,
there is a demand for it. You also want to know the profit margin, the cost implication for your company or for your
mm.
brand, and also how you want to deliver it, all of those systems
I
and
think it's even
processes.
important that you also know if it is also the right time to launch it, right?
Exactly, the right time, which is something I'm also getting to. So
Mm,
they were asking for things, right? I had to, it was like a process I had to take before
mm,
launching out some other products. Right now,
mm,
people are asking for fundraising options for Africans made by Africans because we understand
mm,
it. But I'm not just going to stand up and launch such a product because
mm,
people are asking for it. I need to
mm.
do it at the right time. Right
That's
timing will also mean right timing for the company. Do we have the capacity to handle this? Do we have the technical know-how, right? All of
mm,
these things put together,
mm.
not just because you want to launch something. African business owners need to learn not to be
In
doing.
a
Don't
hurry.
don't
Yeah,
just don't just keep doing. Don't be in a hurry. Use
yeah.
the statistics, use the numbers. You have an email list, which I hope everyone here is building an email list. From your email list, get in contact with them. If you have customers who have engaged with your product before, used your product before, get their experiences. Don't
Mm,
work in silos, right? um
mm.
so many things. I don't want to get into business lessons, but
Sorry, I have a follow-up question, right? I love that you say you
sure.
don't want to get into business because again, our speakers are still coming, so let's leave them,
True.
for that.
Yes.
Yeah, there was something you said now that is very key, but I also want to ensure that we're able to get some balance to some of those things. You had mentioned that
Absolutely.
it's not just about just doing there's also that right time, but sometimes I think we also cannot we cannot blame African business owners, because again a lot of coaches have told us show up, just show up, show up, be in their faces, let them know that you are there. Let them know that you exist, because if you don't show up, you're going to go into extinct. People are going to forget your brand. So how do we marry these things
Create the
together?
balance.
How are we able to create the balance? We want to show up, but again, we're also thinking that, man, this may not be the right time for me to launch this particular product, right? But I don't want to be forgotten. My customers are asking for this thing, right? How do we strike that balance? By the way, let me also acknowledge Architect Corner. I just saw your notification. Thank you for joining from Abuja. It's so great that we have you here. So Dr. Ella, over to you, please.
So, um, showing up doesn't mean launching new products. Showing up doesn't mean introducing a new service. You can show up and give
Mm,
value. You can show up
mm,
and just
true,
keep having educational series like we're having. They would never
true,
forget you for that. You can
true.
show up and just keep sharing content,
Mm,
right?
mm,
Content marketing is what everyone does. You can show up and just keep building your
mm,
audience, maybe
mm,
building your email list or building your following or just
mm,
expanding your audience, right?
mm,
Creating more awareness about what you do and sticking to the services and the products that you have, and
mm,
in the back end or backstage you're actually building something that will be
mm,
great. Because one thing I have noticed about um, African businesses, and
mhm,
also for someone who lives in diaspora, we
mhm,
don't think about continuity. And Mary, I know you can testify to this because you also are
mm,
not in Nigeria. Um,
mm,
Back here in Cyprus, right? You
mm.
see that all of the businesses, or most of them, are family owned,
Of course, of course, of
and
course.
you see
Yeah.
that the father, the mother, everyone is involved in the business.
Everybody,
They're
even the
handling all
children.
part
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. And so you see there is a different mindset behind the businesses that they own or they run.
Mm,
It's for
mm,
continuity's sake. But
mm,
we as Africans, we are caught up in profit, which is okay, right? But there is no continuity plan, there is no long
mm,
term plan. And so when you, as the founder, as the face of the brand, is no
mm,
longer there, things cannot sort of run without you. And
mm,
so you are caught up in showing up, but not
mm,
creating the systems and processes that should ensure that even when you're not there, the
mm.
brand can keep showing up. And
Aye.
I was caught up in this thing that you're talking about. At
Mm,
first, when
mm,
Hexa Media started, we used to be Ella Communications, and
mm,
Ella Communications now became about me.
mm,
Everyone was like, I want to work with Ella. And
mm,
even when there were other people who could do the work, they were not
mhm.
willing to work
Of
with
course,
them.
it has to be
It
Hella.
has to be
Mm,
Ella. And then I
mm,
realized
mm,
that if I'm not around, things are not moving. Things are not
mm,
going well because people sort of want that connection with me because they believe I'm the only one who can get it done. And
mm,
so, beyond the fact that the vision expanded and we had to rebrand,
mm,
the rebrand sort of helped in creating that system and structure, right? Because I
mm,
had to do my
mm,
own assignment and create that system and structure. And guess what? We were still showing up even when all of these things were going on. How were we
mm,
showing up? Webinars,
mm,
trainings, um, featuring different nonprofit founders through interviews, sharing their
mm,
works, telling their
mm.
stories, but not necessarily launching any new product or service.
New
So
products.
don't launch any new product or service because your fave said you should show up. Showing up means be there. Apologies to
Mm,
all the faves out there. I'm so sorry. But showing up means be there. Let them
mm,
know that you still
mm.
exist, but
Yeah.
not let them know that you have a new product or service.
Mm.
Don't Let's not interchange it. There should be a balance,
I love it.
in
I
all of
love
these
it.
things.
I honestly love how you have communicated this easily, clearly, like really. Showing up does not mean you have to launch a new product. That's not what it means. It means that you're there. They can see you. Okay, you are, sharing something educational. Still creating the awareness that is necessary and all of that. And I really love it. Again, I have a follow up question. I'm listening
Sure.
to everything you're saying, and I love that we are, opening this off with this conversation, because
Mhm.
these are really practical things that are also relatable,
Mhm.
to a lot of people who are doing businesses, how will how do we create structures that will enable us to, that will enable the business to still continue to run even if we're not
Results.
there physically? Do you
Mm.
understand? Even if we're not there physically, even if we're not there on ground, how will we be able to create that structure? Because I bet you a lot of people, also want to replicate this. They want it to be that when I'm not there, my business can continue to go on. When I'm not there, the office is not going to close because I'm simply not there. How are we
Mm.
able to, create that structure that's going to help us to, you know, you know, build something that is substantial such
Mhm.
that either we're there, either we're not there, the business continues to run.
That's a very deep question. And I think I want to
Yeah.
put out this disclaimer that I'm also
Mm.
still in the learning
We
process.
are all in the learning process, I promise you. We're
we're
all in the
still
learning
we're
process.
still building, but
We're
I would
still
share
building.
from the
Mm.
lessons I have learned or have gathered and stuff I've been able to do so far.
Thank you.
So
Thank
I
you so
think the
much.
very first thing I did was to understand my business steps or the different steps that I took in my business to
Mm.
ensure that services are delivered, marketing is done, clients are brought or acquired, that kind of thing. So it all starts with SOPs. I know
Mm.
everyone has heard about SOPs. SOPs are standard operating procedures, right? And just forget all the gibberish. It just simply means a document that carries the steps that you use to do stuff in your business. That's all. So,
Mm.
what are the steps to acquiring new clients?
Mm.
First of all, you run ads. Now, this is just an example for anyone listening. First
Mm.
of all, you run ads. When they come across your ads, they get to a lead magnet. From a lead magnet, you book a call. From a call, you close the sale. When you close the sale, you send them an invoice. After sending them an invoice, all those different steps that you take. And so
Mhm.
for different business activities that happen, marketing, client acquisition, service delivery, you need to think about these things. And when I did it 2 3 years ago, I had to take some time out to actually think about the different processes that we
Mm.
carry out, or I used to carry out myself.
Mm.
When it comes to all of the content marketing, social media management, all of that, as little as that, right? How do these things work out? And one other thing that helped me was I created templates for everything.
Mm.
So for my invoices, there are templates that we use. For my
Mm.
welcome packets, for my contracts, for my everything, there is a
Mm.
template. So in
Even
that
even
document,
even to the point of responding to a customer that is displeased.
Exactly,
Mm.
exactly. Everything, customer service. So
Mm.
for all of these things, I had templates. So what I just did was I simply use Google Docs. All of these things are in Google Docs. Don't overcomplicate it, right? Go to
Mm.
Google Docs, start to type out all of those steps. And believe me, as you grow, as your organization grows, these steps may become expanded or shortened, right? So don't also forget that as you grow, you refine things,
Yeah.
things begin to become better.
Mm.
So as things are being refined, you can go back to Google Docs and edit it, right, to reflect the new thing. And that's the joy of Google Docs. You can keep editing and you keep all of that. So write down all of those steps. For those templates, for example, when it comes to this stage of at this step you send out the invoice, you will
Mhm.
find the invoice word is linked to where you can get the invoice template. I don't know if you get what I
Beautiful.
mean, right?
Beautiful.
For our content calendars, I have a template that I check the content calendars every month. So at the
Mm.
end of the month, I'm shown the calendar and everything is there. I've created it in a way that it's easy for me to walk around, even
Mm.
though whoever comes to work with me can tweak things. But this is how I want to see it so that I'm able to get around things quickly, right? And it also
Beautiful.
helps for efficiency. Everyone is just quick, easy, and running.
Yeah.
Your brand voice, your everything, basically. So
Mm.
it's SOPs, just standard operating procedures, um,
Beautiful.
and all
Beautiful.
of that. Yes.
Beautiful. I love, I really, really love that you have, what you have done is simplified the process for
Mm-hmm.
yourself, for your organization, and it makes a lot of sense. So for every business owner who is on this call, I hope that you're picking something and you're learning something, just like Ella said. We're not business developers or business strategies, and we're just sharing things that we are using in our
Mm-hmm.
businesses and all that, and
Mm-hmm.
seeing how it can also impact the work that you also are doing. Let's talk about, before we wrap this up. I know that, I think our founder is in the room already, but before
Okay.
we wrap this off, let's talk about talents. Dr. Ella, how have you been able to recruit people who are able to do the job? I'm not even going to lie. I'm not even going to lie. Yesterday I put out a post yesterday. Honestly, I put out a post yesterday, and of course, yesterday was World Mental Health Day, and particularly this year's celebration was about mental health in the workplace.
Mm.
And I see a lot of posts saying, create safe environment for people, no toxicity, no toxic bosses. But the truth of the matter is, they're really toxic employees. You
They are not
see,
ready to work.
they're
That's
not
just
ready to work, literally laid back and lazy. I'm not even joking, Dr. Ella. We see these things every day. When they want to come and get the job, when they want to resume
they are
the
so
position,
humble.
they're so humble. They tell you they are able to do this. In fact, the problem I'm not having now is, we have people who say that they're able to do something theoretically, and when it comes to the
When it comes to
practical, okay, you
practical.
say you can write, you say you're a writer, and I'm saying write this article for me, and everything I'm reading is fostering what was that word again? Oh Lord, what's this chat GPT word that I'm so familiar with? Immediately I see unlock your potential. I know where you got it from. I'm not saying don't use AI. I mean, we're talking about how we can simplify the process. But we're saying that, can you add a bit of your own natural element in this? And Dr. Ella, what do we do? How are we able to, recruit talent who are competent, who are efficient, who are effective, who are able to do the job that they are being employed for, and who will not give the founders or the business owners mental health issues? Just like one of my friends yesterday, my friend literally said, Mary, I'm the one having mental health issues because my staff members are dealing with me. What do we do? How do we resolve this
Yeah.
situation?
Hmm. I would say Yoruba. Eléyìí gidi gan.
Kidding, oh, kidding. Kidding. Honestly, I'm saying this thing passionately because it's painful. I'm
It
telling you the
is.
truth, it's really painful.
It is. Well, I haven't. I would say I've had my own fair share of
Mm,
great experiences, but
mm,
um, I would first of all like to talk to those of us who are looking for jobs,
mm,
the so-called talents.
mm,
I would say that if you don't have a teachable spirit,
mm,
you don't have a calm head, you don't have an open mind, and you're not willing to drop what you
mm,
know to learn that of your boss,
mm,
you're not ready to move forward.
mm,
That's just the truth. It's beyond your CV nowadays.
mm.
It's about your character.
Yeah.
It's about your teachable spirit. There is someone that I work with, and believe me, before I hired her, if I was to use her CV to judge her, I wouldn't have hired her. But
Hmm.
I've had right now, I can
Hmm.
say it anywhere and beat my chest that I have had 1,001% absolute
Hmm.
great experience working with
This is
her.
good. This is
And
good.
it's not about her CV. It's
Hmm.
about her spirit. She
Hmm.
has a teachable spirit. In fact, when she writes, you will think it's Ella writing. A
This
lot
is
of people don't know I don't
good. So
handle
good.
Hexa Media's page. Sometimes I'm logged out. I don't know what is going on. It is
Mm,
someone else that is doing it. But she has
mm,
that teachable spirit. She has learned how we do things, the voice, the value, everything.
mm,
So
mm,
working with someone is about learning,
mm,
relearning, unlearning. You need
mm,
to have an open spirit, a teachable spirit. And for those of us who are hiring, I would say that patience, patience
mm,
is one thing. I know that because we are here, and
mm,
sometimes the people we are hiring are here, you would
mm.
want them to catch up like
As
this.
fast as
And
possible.
so
Mm,
we are caught up in having to get them to do, a lot so quickly and all of that. It's
mm,
okay. I can be like that too. But we should learn patience. And I think one thing that has also helped me is for those of us who are Christians, is the Holy Spirit.
mm,
Um, so when I hire, before I want to hire someone, I would have a conversation with you. I can do all the everything right, all the standard procedure. But if my spirit doesn't go with you, I can't work with you.
mm,
I know some people might not work with these standards, right? But it's what has worked for me.
mm.
It goes beyond the CV because everyone can say what they want to do. It
Right,
happens
right.
everywhere. It's something that keeps happening, right?
Mm,
And
mm.
if at any point you find that this person is taking your joy, please, they should use the door. They are not worth your joy.
Your mental health is really important, honestly, honestly.
That's just the truth. They
Honestly.
are not worth your
Mm,
stress and everything. So
mm, mm,
that's basically what I would say because everyone goes through a hard time, when it comes to hiring people and
mm,
working with talent. Hi,
mm.
Global Man. Thank you so much for joining us.
I
Uberman is here.
Yeah. So
it,
yes, Mary. I hope that answered your question.
Mm,
And I
good
hope
one.
someone learned something or gained a thing or two from our conversation.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. You have done well. You've spoken really well. Hi, Global Man. How are you doing today?
hi everyone. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Loud and clear.
Thank you so much. I don't know, it's a lot that has been happening today, but you guys can see I'm still well suited up. I see the prince and the princess and the king, but I'm excited to be here. Thank you so very much, Mary and Ella. Thank you so
Well,
much.
you're
I'm just
welcome.
here with my pen and paper, so
I was going to say it's okay for us to leave the stage now so that you can take over. You can have the
Absolutely.
floor.
thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so
Uh,
much, lady. Really
Okay.
excited. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. You're welcome. I want to officially welcome you guys to today being the first day of our 2-day webinar. Thank you so much to my team members. I know while everybody was just saying, man, we've been having technical difficulties. Guys, these things always happen. Trust me. And that's really what makes us what makes us human beings. The fact that we can work together that my head is not cut out now. Can you confirm that my head is not cut out? I need to get that update. I need to get that update. I need to confirm you can hear me. I need to confirm. Okay, I think my head is no longer cut out. Thank you so much for amazing. Thank you. We have quite. I need to know the people that are here, by the way, before I start jumping on this call. Thank you so much. I can see King Uke Enun. Uke, thank you so very much. Speed Mills Limited. Okora for Stephanie. Thank you. Smash Book with Miracle Chisom. Architects. I know Architects Corner. Architect Rose, I see you. Deborah Chinon. So thank you so very much. I'm really, really grateful for you guys standing in here. I think in the next around in the next like 20 minutes, we'll be having the founder of Remote Start, who will come here to talk to us about the challenges and opportunities that are embedded on, on remote work and on those opportunities. But what inspired this activity? This is Youthspark Pan Africa, and it's essentially a community of leaders and entrepreneurs who are driving growth in their businesses and in their careers. So we decided to talk about something that is very, very, very vital at this very point in time. If you notice, everywhere around the world after COVID in 2020, the world entirely changed. Everything around the world changed. All the people who had initial plans, other plans to do a lot of things, plans to get married. I'm going to be doing a lot of jokes just to get us back up to speed. But again, people that had plans to do different kinds of businesses, get into, build their careers in different ways, go for studies and build themselves. A lot changed when COVID came, and the resultant effect is that people had to start finding alternative ways to survive away from the traditional means, and that was really what started pumping the drive towards embracing the digital economy, right? People started looking for ways to survive away from their offices, away from the traditional tools that they've always used to either build businesses or set up, build their ideas essentially. And in the process of that, a lot of companies started laying off their staff, right? They started laying off their staff. People had so many people lost their jobs. They couldn't find anywhere to work, particularly people who were not prepared for the whole change that came with, with the pandemic at the time. And so within the period, most people started also thinking of ways to survive and started going closer to what has now become the digital economy as we know it. However, there's also been a lot of changes and advancements in the entire digital economy. Now we have artificial intelligence that is now out here changing a lot of landscapes. So if the model you are using to do your business perhaps in 2020 is the same thing you are using right now, I tell you that you are also sitting on a long thing, because artificial intelligence is here now to also disrupt a lot of things. So if the mentality you are using in 2020 is what you're still using now, I tell you the truth, whatever it is you are doing will be crushed very, very soon. And so we decided to talk about the African digital workspace. Earlier we had Dr. Ella and Mary, who were here to talk about, to just give like a foundation and hold forth while I come here just to give this background. So essentially, Ella and Mary are people who have also played very, very big role. They're playing very big role in the entire remote workspace, where they are serving clients from across the world and then getting to work with them. So I think they're also in a very, very fantastic position to talk about the opportunities and challenges, and even help to break down this conversation around African digital workplace, right? What I've done essentially, what we have done essentially at Youthspark Pan Africa, just to keep this conversation going, is to invite quite some very incredible human beings who are, professionals who are doing a lot of work across different niches. Earlier, I think by tomorrow we'll be having the founder of Go Nomad, who will be talking to us about the monetary aspect of it. How do you really make a lot of money from this, as much as you are, trying to go remote, trying to really build your digital workplace. Later today, we'll be having the founder of, I think in the next few minutes, we'll be having the founder of Remote Start, who will also come here to talk about opportunities and challenges that are associated in the remote space, right? But one also very good thing I need to mention is one of the things Remote Start is doing is also to provide people. I know that there was a program that I know about where they gave access to about 1,000 remote job opportunities to people, and that's really, really amazing. He will be coming here to also talk about what they are doing at Remote Start. So let me also, and I think today as well we'll be having TNN. If you guys know TNN will be here at some point. I need to even find out at what point TNN is supposed to be here to talk to us about so she'll be here to talk to us about give me a sec, guys. But yeah, in trying to drive the conversation up, with the whole remote work thing, let me know in the comment section, guys, how many of you guys are really, really embracing the whole digital workplace? Let me know the people that have advanced. Let me know the people that have moved people who are moving their ministries to the permanent site. How many of you guys, let me know in the comment section, how many of you guys are really embraced? I'm not saying people that are doing social media. I'm not saying people that are using Facebook to chat. I mean, people that are really, really going digital with their skills, with their knowledge, with their expertise. I mean, you are doing something that you are actually earning from that. Even if they don't employ you in any company, you will be able to survive with what you are doing virtually, actually. I would like to see that in the comment section. Let me see. Um, let me see how many persons are actually very, very active in the digital space. Now, currently, there is a rise in the whole building the whole digital workplace. When I was having a conversation earlier today with someone, and then one of the things we were talking about were the trends, the remote work adoption that is happening in Africa, particularly. Because, sometimes Africa is not always ready until things have finished happening before people start running helter skelter. But the good thing is that because of our resilience as well, we're also able to really find ways to catch up, right? After the pandemic, something happened, like I was talking about earlier. People started adopting the whole digital workplace. People started looking forward to, in fact, many people decided they're not going back to their offices. Offices started calling people back when everything has calmed down, and people are no longer interested in going to their offices because they now know that they can serve clients from across the world, from wherever, from their very, very, very home, from their bed. They can actually provide those services, those skills. I remember during the COVID period, I and Mary, actually, I think we spent a lot of time talking, and we were always online trying to also find ways to survive, just like every other person. I don't know about you, which is why it's very important to have fantastic people in your circle. I cannot overemphasize the importance of having amazing, amazing people like Mary and Dr. Ella in your space. So during the pandemic, one of the things that happened was that I and Mary were always, always having conversation about how to navigate. So we got to learn a lot of skill then. I remember beyond just learning, I remember we were also teaching. I mean, Mary was actually having a lot of classes where she was teaching people on things they can actually do with their mobile devices and really, really stay afloat. But one thing I also discovered is that as much as a lot of people, there are so many people that love to pile up a lot of skill sets. However, they don't know how to deploy it in the marketplace. And while people were just piling up these skills and not knowing how to deploy it and make exchange with it for monetary value, the world was moving so fast and Africa was like lagging behind. And of course, when this whole thing it became very obvious that this is the future is here. The future is now digital, right? The future is digital. And so many people started looking for ways to adopt the whole digital space and all that. And one thing that also happened within the period, is the rise of freelancers and digital nomads. Yeah. In fact, it was post-COVID. It was after COVID that I myself started getting very, very acquainted with the whole people that are called digital nomads, right? That there are people that essentially they can actually be traveling from one country to the other, and their life is actually working as if nothing is wrong with them, right? So they can actually leave France today, get to do their work tomorrow. They don't like, after 2 days, they don't like to stay in France again. They just carry their bag and just relocate. They travel to Kenya, and from Kenya they are doing their work. After like 3 days, they decide to get, okay, you know what, I'm leaving. They go to Nigeria, and they keep working like that. It was after pandemic that there became a surge on people that are now doing freelancing. It was there, don't get me wrong, it was there, but then after COVID, there was now a surge of people that are now into freelancing and all that. Another thing that also rose within the period was a surge in African startup ecosystem. So we started having the whole tech, startups, startup founders started rising from so many places. Also because of all those people that I talked about who took advantage of the, just trying to survive during the pandemic, had to find ways to survive. Many of them now started setting up things like, startup that started expanding the ecosystem, the startup ecosystem. So there are a lot of innovations that started coming up, a lot of creativity that started coming up. People started looking out for solutions, digital solutions to emerging social problems, and they were now leveraging on the whole leveraging on digital tools, leveraging on, we are now having softwares that are coming up. People are now building solutions online, building softwares, writing codes that were now solving the everyday emerging problem. And this could be seen in cities like in Lagos, in Nairobi, in Cape Town. These three cities are like cities that once there is any adoption in Africa, you have to, if anything must be adopted in Africa, you've got to look out for these three cities. You have to go to Lagos in Nigeria, you've got to check Nairobi in Kenya, and you've got to check Cape Town in South Africa. You have to be able to, whatever that is not adopted in these three cities, trust me, it may thrive in other places, but trust me, when it comes to adoption, these are the King Kong of whatever it is that will thrive in the continent of Africa. And it also came with its own challenges as well. We had the issues, we had the challenge in Africa, particularly where we had the issues of infrastructure as well. Infrastructure like internet, we had electricity. Now, there are some countries where they are still battling so hard with internet connectivity. And right now, Rwanda, you guys know that I try and attend, I visit Rwanda quite often. And during my last visit, I learned that they now have blueprints. Now, if you are building a house, if you are giving a housing plan in Rwanda, it must come with internet plan. There has to be internet plan on every housing, the new housing in Rwanda right now. So most other countries are still battling with the issue of internet connectivity, issues around electricity, and this is so far affecting how much the whole digital ecosystem is being adopted, the workplace is being adopted. We're also having the challenge of digital literacy as well, because of course, if there is no internet, if there is no electricity, you begin to put a cap, a hitch on how far and how much people can actually get to learn. We are having skills gap as a result of this. So you see some cities, it's like they are really going far because they have enabling environment, they have the infrastructure that is helping them to grow, while other cities are still dabbling and struggling to see how they can actually work around that. And we cannot also forget the issues around cybersecurity concern. I think while I was in Nigeria, I attended an event that was hosted by Raymond in Lagos, Nigeria. And one of the things that still resonates with me, that event was done in collaboration with the Lagos Business School in Nigeria. But one of the things that really resonated with me, because the conversation was really a lot about artificial intelligence, but there was this aspect of ethical concerns, right? There was a lot of conversations was around the ethical concerns around adoption of artificial intelligence. Like I said, in the next couple of minutes, we will be having the founder of Raymond, who will be coming to talk to us about further challenges that they've had to have. I mean, he has worked with thousands of entrepreneurs across Africa, and so would like him to come and just talk to us, spend some minutes to talk to us about some of the challenges he has had, having to leverage on this paper. And he's playing so big in the blockchain AI ecosystem as well. So, all right, guys, I don't know if you guys are getting value. Please, can you confirm to me you're getting value? Let's know what we are doing. Once again, I want to say a very big thank you to Mary and Ella. I'm really grateful. You guys are family. Thank you so very much. Just before we welcome our next guest, who will be coming on here to share, but there are just some things that I needed to talk about that should form like the key element of building like very successful digital workplace. Ella and Mary earlier on were talking a whole lot about the work that they are doing. And I love the aspects of digital. Now we need to talk about the technology and the tools that are being needed, because if you are going to build a very successful digital workplace as an African living in Africa, I heard when my friends were saying, oh, that they are not in Nigeria. Well, I don't know if you are throwing shades to people that are in Nigeria anyway. Well, everybody, I don't want to say everybody must not travel, but I mean, if you have the opportunity to go explore and learn from other places so that you can import the knowledge back home, by all means, feel free to do so. But then, want to look at tools, technology, and tools as very key elements of building very successful digital workplace. The role of collaboration tools. Now we are now having tools like Slack, Microsoft Teams, and Zoom that are coming. It looks like, oh, these are competing tools, but trust me, the level of collaboration, the level of ease that all of them combine together to bring to the digital workplace is really, really, really very, very phenomenal. And you also want to look at, now we're having conversation around digital. We're now having issues around iCloud cloud services that are there. I'm having my team members who are saying something. So yeah, I talked about the technology and tools. I just mentioned about Slack, Zoom, and Microsoft Teams. I love Microsoft Teams, by the way. It is very easy to use, and I got to learn about that when I moved here and we're having to do our online classes. I think the best tool that we're using is Microsoft Teams. Fantastic tool, by the way. Now we're also having that increase in digital skills now. Before, we didn't know a lot of people who were getting to learn coding. Now, I didn't even tell you guys that at some point I also had to go learn coding. I had to go understand the basics. Now, I'm not an expert. Don't bring coding stuff for me. But then I just had to understand the basics. What's really the basics of this? Because I didn't like coding, by the way, before. Because when this is very, very funny. This is gonna come out as very, very funny. This is very, very funny. But Chris darling, I'm seeing what you're writing. So this is going to come out as very, very funny. So I didn't like coding before because it had a lot of I used to tell people it has a lot of greater than and equal to on it. So I see people writing every time they are writing greater than and equal to. Guys, give me a sec. Okay, guys. So I think we'll be welcoming our speaker here now. We will be welcoming our speaker. Great darling, let me know if he's coming up right now. So guys, before our next speaker comes up, please don't go away. We're gonna go for a water break. You guys can see I'm still well suited up. I need to take a sip of water. By the time I come back, we will be having our next guest, Ubio, who will be talking to us about the opportunities and challenges that are associated with the workplace. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. I still have to also share with us about the I didn't get to also tell you guys. I know so many people have been sending us message and asking us about the Youthspark conference that will be happening in the beautiful city of Kigali, Rwanda. I really can't, I can't get over talking about Rwanda because I know how much it has really, really impacted on the lives of a lot of people. I said lives, I didn't say business. I said life because first of all, Youthspark experience is a wholesome experience that first of all influences people's life, their thinking, and everything about them before we can now delve into what they are doing, their ideas, their businesses or initiatives that they are running. But everybody who has ever been part of the Youthspark experience has had to tell an experience of how their life, first of all, changed. Their lenses, their life, their perspective were completely overhauled before they now had like a rebirth to start building their lives again. And so the event comes up next month. Earlier today, I had like 2 people who reached out to me to say they would like to be part of that event. In fact, one person has confirmed that he will be there, and I will be having a conversation much later. People are reaching out to ask how they can be part of that. Guys, listen, the best thing you want to give yourself at this very point in your life is the level of exposure and experience that will sustain the future that you're desiring for yourself. And what Youthspark does is provide you with a platform and leverage to penetrate into the global market. That's essentially what we do. So whatever business that you are doing, yeah, Youthspark provides you with opportunity to leverage on that and also attend that. Now, in recent times, we also discovered that, particularly if you are in Nigeria or in some countries where there is a lot of inflation that is happening and flight tickets are relatively very expensive. Also, we decided to get into conversations to make it very, very easier and cheaper for a lot of people. And so we provided a discount, a scholarship, partial scholarship for people who are interested in attending the Youthspark events to be able to join other people who are attending from different parts of the world. And right now, the Youthspark events covers the just give me a sec. Great darling, if you can pull up the flyer for the Youthspark events, I would really, really love to speak to that a bit, what it contains for the fee. Okay. I'm hearing that there's an ad for that. So in the next 1 minute, Graydon is going to pull that off. Then I'll come back again just to buttress on that. Graydon, let's see the ad.
Hi everyone, my name is Ubio Obu. I'm from Nigeria and I'm currently at the Youthspark Pan-African Conference happening in Kigali, Rwanda. What has the Youthspark Pan-African Conference taught me? Oh my God, it has been an exciting opportunity learning about the people of Rwanda. I've learned about the humanitarian strength of the Rwandans. I've also learned about the community service, the umuganda that happens here in Rwanda. And I can tell you very honestly that if you want to be at the Youthspark Pan-African Conference for next year, you should definitely get your ticket because it's going to be an amazing, enlightening opportunity. I can't wait to see some of you next year. Bye. Hi everyone, my name is Ubio.
All right, guys. That's like the ad for the events, yeah. So many people have reached out. They want to attend the Youthspark events. It's about $1,200, and now the registration for the event is $800, excluding flight tickets. However, we tried to provide scholarship for a lot of you who would love to be part of that event, so that I'm asking Great Darling to, yeah. So the link is there to get all the details. youthsparkpanafrica.org/Youthspark dash sponsorship. You're going to get all the details. I'm also hoping that they'll share the flyer at some point. Now, the component of the events, the component of the meeting is that with just $1,200, you are able to access it, to provide you accommodation for 5 days. The meeting will be happening from the 25th to the 30th of November 2024. That's like about next month. So the payment of $1,200 affords you accommodation, 5 nights accommodation. It affords you feeding for those 5 days. That's about full board meal. That's breakfast, lunch, and dinner per day times those 5 days. You're going to get a branded, customized Youthspark t-shirt. It's going to give you an opportunity to go with other people to tour around the city of Kigali. You'll be having an opportunity to visit very relevant institutions where you will learn the culture and also learn lessons that will help you to further, sustain your business. You will learn that you have an opportunity to interact with at least 2 ministers where you'll be sitting down to ask them questions, and they will provide you with answers that has helped them to achieve remarkable results. Now, another beautiful thing is that one of the things I look forward to doing is also to see how I can get you to collaborate and do some project with the government of Rwanda. That's one of the things I always look forward to doing. Now, beyond all the other things that we're doing, there are some additional value that we'll be bringing this year that we have never done before, and that is the fact that in this edition, the next edition, we're looking forward to having the Youthspark experience to hold in 2 locations in Kigali. That's really very insightful, because for me, I'm even looking forward to that. We've never done that before. So we'll be having the event in 2 places. So within those 5 days that this event will be happening, the first 2 days will be happening in a different part of the city, in a different part of the country, while the second uh, part of the second batch of the event. If, the other 3 days will also be happening in different location. And so we look forward to having you to be there. I'm aware that our speaker is here, and I'm not going to waste further time to have him get up on here. Before he gets up on here, Ubio, thank you so very much. It's really exciting to see you. I'm going to just read about Ubio's. I'm going to read his profile. Going to spotlight on that, and then he'll come up here so that you will know the person that is here. I told you guys that he has the way of sharing remote work opportunities so that you can hold him accountable. So Mr. Ubio is the Chief Executive Officer of Remote Start. He is a blockchain and AI researcher with more than 4 years of research experience. He has over 10 publications to his name, with his work being published in several reputable journals such as the American Journal of Physics. His research works across different fields ranging from artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, agriculture, environment, as well as human resource hiring and management. Guys, with a round of applause, let's make welcome. And another thing, again, that I know about Ubio is that Ubio really loves to support great things that are happening. He loves to be part of anything that will grow, anything that will grow. If even if the thing looks like it, you will see him put his energy, bring his experience, just to ensure that nothing around him stays without growing. Thank you so much, Ubio, for joining us. Let's get you on here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Raymond. Thank you. I'm so grateful, and it's awesome getting the beautiful thing you're doing with Youthspark. It's quite an amazing work. I'm very hopeful that I'll be in Kigali with you. I'm very hopeful. I'll check my calendar, but I've thought about it, so it's something I'm like I really need to have that experience. I've really heard a lot about it, but yeah, awesome, and it's such a privilege being here. And yeah, so when you were saying Ubio does not like things to around him not to work, I was like, how did he know that? Because I was in a call yesterday with someone, and the person was quite surprised that the project that he got me involved is actually moving. According to him, about 3 months ago, things were not working. So he just somehow felt, okay, things are stalled because of that. And then when he was talking to me, I showed him, okay, we were trying to get to you. We could not. This is what I had to do. I had to literally go improvise and get things done. And now the project is moving. We are done with milestone 3. We are going to be moving milestone 4 out of 5 projects. So, and then when he said that, I was recalibrating. I was like, why did he say that? Because anything that I put, so I said, if it didn't want to work, then you don't call me in, right? Because once you call me in, then it means it must work. Like, I'm terribly going to put in my all and ensure that it works. So when you said that, I was like, how did Raymond get that fact about me? But that's true. Thank you so much, Raymond. And it's beautiful being here. I'm going to be discussing on the topic remote work and the future of African businesses, opportunities, and challenges. So, remote work, right? So I'm sure a lot of us already know what remote work is. We know what, and then what this means for us, the future of African businesses, and then opportunities and challenges. 2020 was when the world changed. The world is no more the way it was after the year 2020. And I do think um, custodians of history are people that they pay attention to pivotal points when things happen in history that change the way people do things. I tried to research prior to that point. I realized that it seems like every great pandemic in history always usher in a new way of life. The Great Depression, after we had the Great Depression, there was the pandemic in the 1914, around that time, right? And that ushered in the new conversations. It was the end of the industrial age and the opening of the technological age and all of that. And then, so before that time, it was guys that were playing more in the industries, people that were producing factories were actually the guys that were the businesses of the day. But it seemed as if after each pandemic, after each great inflation, humans try to recalibrate and ensure that some of the lessons and the effect of what happened in that era does not come back. And most times when they try to respond to those calamities, to those issues, I realize that we get to that point that in Hooke's law that we call the yield point. So in the Hooke's law formula, when you get to the yielding, so we have the Planck's constant and all of that. But what it says is that once you break that yield point and extend, there's no point of going back again. So F and E will always equal, right? So far as that this thing, the constant of proportionality is not broken. But once that constant of proportionality is broken and then it extends to the other side, it cannot go back to the way it was. One of the biggest problems that we do have as African people or as African businesses, and is that the wall has broken. We've broken the proportionality, the how do we call it? We've broken the that constant of proportionality, but we are still looking for the wall that existed before now. So the wall has broken. Every time we extended, every time issues hit humanity, when we had different, in the past 100 years, a lot has hit us as both Africans and as humanity, and each time we recovered. So that means we did not reach the yielding point. We entered into small depression, small inflation. We came out and we still went ahead as though nothing happened. They brought up new innovations. It broke us a little bit. It extended us, but we revert back as though nothing happened. But in history, there are epoch histories. There are points in history that are so monumental that when those events happen, humanity cannot go back to the way it was. And one of such was what happened to us in the year 2020. Post 2020, businesses no more functioned the way it was. So that's the first idea I want to sell to us, that if you're still doing your business the way you were doing your business before 2020, then you've already lost a large percentage of where the world is going and what is happening. Because right now, the landscape of business has changed tremendously, and we cannot play the way it was. One of such that has changed is an overly dependent landscape on remote work. So two things why there is an overly dependent landscape on remote working, and why as business people and quote unquote, if you're a talent as well, you need to adjust to the remote world is one. That there has been, so we obviously we agree that if you are Nigerian and if you are probably in most of the African country, we will agree that the inflation that we actually are experiencing is probably largely due to the political stupidity of the people that lead us. But that is a discussion for another level. Globally, in the past 4 years, there's been a tremendous increase in inflation. So inflation is no more just a discussion that we discuss only on the local landscape. Inflation is now a global stuff. And you see, one thing you have to understand about us in Africa is that because we are not an independent ecosystem, we are a dependent ecosystem. It means that much of what happens in the global world affects us a lot. So if you are an African business, you should care a lot about global politics, global warfare, global opportunities, global, because the truth is you are a dependent market. So I call the African market the second derivative market because our market responds to things that are happening in other worlds. So there's something called the imported inflation, whereby the issues that are probably causing the inflation in business and everywhere is actually happening abroad. So, for example, now we have what happened in Iran, we have what happened in Russia, and all those stuff that are happening. But the truth is, it's not happening in Africa, but we are going to import that because we import. So we don't. So when you're an import-dependent economy, you don't only import goods and product, you also import the political scenarios, you import the political issues in those dependent countries. And that is where we are in Africa. So I speak to us knowing fully well that, okay, most of the people I'm going to be having this conversation are probably business people, startup owners, and talents. And then, so I don't have the bandwidth to speak to the political solution to this, which again does not really concern me as a business person. As a business person, I'm an opportunist. Sorry to say it, but that's the truth. I don't. I understand the limitation of my powers. The fact that I cannot change global politics. I can't. I don't have the ability to change my country policies, but I have the ability to respond strategically to what is happening globally. So, because Africa is a dependent or a second derivative market, what happens is that a lot of what is going on in globally is affecting us. And globally, there's been an increase in inflation of commodities and products. The implication of that is that we've also imported the inflation, the policies and the politics, the war that is happening in Gaza is affecting us as business people over here. So we have to strategically align ourselves to how to respond to what is going on the global market. Now, this is where remote opportunities comes in. As global people, as global, now I'm going to be speaking because I understand that the scope that Raymond has given to me is more towards the African businesses, but I will also speak to African talents because I'm the CEO of Raymond Start as well. And anywhere I go to, I speak to talent and I speak to startups. Those are two people that I always, so I'll still have a conversation to the talents on how to respond to this unique dynamic that we find ourselves. But first, to the African businesses, right? So to the African business, you have to understand that you can no more meet up with the prices of goods and services the way you used to. So as a result of that, you now have to integrating remote into your business is no more what you do as flex. You know, during the COVID-19, we did that as flex because everybody was doing it. Right now, thinking remote, and I'm going to be talking thinking remote both as an operational strategy and as a business strategy as well. So how we're going to be thinking remote as an operational strategy and how we are going to be thinking remote as a business strategy to speak to get access to global markets that are probably not where we are. So I'm going to be speaking to those two dynamics. But first, as an operational strategy. As an operational strategy, you have to understand that you can no more keep up with paying your employees the amount that they worth because of the increase in fuel prices all over the world globally, which your country has imported, right? So even when you are a fuel producing country like Nigeria, you're still importing fuel, right? You're still importing petrol. So as such, as you're importing the petrol, the global dynamics is as well affecting you. One, you can no more sustain that life. So let's assume that you used to pay your staff 10,000 cedis 100,000 naira before now, whatever the amount. And inside that, it meant that they have to somehow put in the transport coming to work for close to about 20 days, right? And then 20 to 22 days, they have to put in the amount that they have to buy food or something when they come to work. So all of that was inclusive in the 100,000 that you were paying the person, 100,000 naira or 10,000 cedis, whatever the currencies are in your own different regions. Now there is increase in this inflation. The same 100,000 would mean it could only buy whatever it could buy for them, means that their purchasing power reduces. The solution for you as an employee is to increase their salary so they will be able to meet up to the standard of living that they were up to. Else, the competitors will poach, because your competitors are not smiling. They know your good talents. They know the people that are behind the victories of your company, and they are going to go for them. The market is never smiling. So if they're going to, now imagine that your competitors are going to give your best talent maybe 120,000 naira, at 20,000 naira more. Your talent knows, well, your employee knows that, well, there is no need. There's no real addition, because I'm still going to spend all of that in field. But here is your company. You guys probably, you go to office only when necessary. That's the policy. And I know a lot of African businesses that actually adopt that business. They don't tell you it's fully remote. They operate a hybrid model. There can be 2-3 weeks where nobody comes to office, only 1 or 2-3 persons. You go to office if you want to, but it's not compulsory. They only call, it's only when it's necessary that everybody comes to office. That's when they call it. Now imagine your company or your organization operating that model and still sustaining or still paying the employee the same amount of money. Now that same amount of money now purchases more, and then instead of spending a lot of money in fuel, driving car, the insecurity that comes with it, and also buying food when they get to work, all of that is being curtailed. Now the same amount is able to go for more, even when there's been no real strategic adjustment in the fee or in the salary. Now you can compete effectively with your competitors, right? Because because what you're offering them is something that makes them much more relaxed, is a much more welcoming. So now remote is no more about stuff. It's no more a flex. It's now a strategy that companies are utilizing. It's now part and parcel of the strategy. And if you are you're someone that is eco-friendly, your business also speaks to, you guys are sustainable, you speak to sustainable, you speak to the sustainable part of business, then you're already making a case, because you are reducing the carbon footprint of your employees. Even if it is by 2 to 5 to 10%, that's something sustainable. Hold up, you can actually use that to get access to some grants, use that to get access to some opportunities. So remember, there's something we're tying all of this to, the opportunities that lies for us. So you can actually use this and get access. There are some businesses that will do project with you, or offer your company projects just because they know that your company is eco-friendly. You've been able to reduce carbon footprint of your employee by over 10% in the past 2 to 3 years. And this is a very feasible use case of how this is lying for us. The second part of the conversation is the opportunities that the remote job offers us to businesses and opportunities that are on the other side of the wall. We had a global how do I put it? We had a in Nigeria. I'm looking for the word. This is why it's bad to be a Nigerian. It's only Jackpot that is entering my head. I'm looking for the name. Yeah, there's been a mass immigration post 2020, as people realize that their present situations is no more going to be comfortable for them. There's been mass migration from both Africa and most developing world to the developed world. So that's why if you follow the USA politics, you see there's been a lot of discussion about border crisis and all of that. This is a response to the 2020 issue. Like I said, we ain't gonna go back anymore. These are issues that we're gonna be living with. We've broken the proportionality, and it's not gonna come back no matter how much we try. We've broken it. And so, because of mass migration, I want you to understand that it means that whatever you were offering as a business, there is now someone of your color that is somewhere else but needs that same service. So I'm not even talking about this, what we call internalization of businesses, and is the globalization of business. I'm talking about the first conversation of even the internalization of internationalization of businesses, where whatever you were offering now, even that you were sewing clothes, now there's someone in US that needs that sewn clothes. You were doing whatever food you were doing one petite kiosk. There's someone that has moved and is in the other part of the world that needs that same test of that thing that the person was used to. Because remember, 2020 happened, mass migration, people move. But as people have moved, the implication is that now your business has also, the demand for your business has also gone international, because there's someone definitely out there in some other part of the world that actually needs the services that you are actually offering. So because people have now moved to this part of the world, right, and then they need the same business offering that you guys were offering, that makes you to have a market already without even the need for ads, right? There's no need for ads. You already have a market any part of the world you want to think about. So now that means we now have to design. How do we design our businesses to be able to take opportunities, or take advantage of the opportunities that are actually in the other part of the world? And that is where issues like, so that is where you now need to know, how can I offer whatever service that I've been offering here or goods internationally? How can someone in Dubai, how can someone in USA be able to get access to the goods, the product, that thing that you are doing over here in Nigeria? And one of such is thinking, how can I operate remotely from here and get access to the Raymond operates in Nigeria, but we operate remotely. We have customers all over the world. And then if you're going to be doing that, you also know how you are going to be able to position your business as something that can speak to the narrative over there. So that's the first thing. So you need to know how you get global payments and all those kind of stuff. It feels in there. And then the next thing is the second part of the conversation, which is the globalization of your idea. If there is somebody like you that needs your solution out there, it means there's someone different from you that needs something related to that solution that you also need to meet up to. For you to be able to meet that, for you to be able to meet there, it also means that you have to know how to globalize your local content. So the truth is, when I speak to people of African descent or to Nigerians, the way I speak to them about my service is different from when I speak to people from other ethnicities. You have to understand how other ethnicities, Asians have a total different mindset to work and to life. Europeans have a very different mindset to work and to life. Americans have very different approach to life. And so if you're going to be targeting these different markets, you have to know how to take the same service but speak to different people, right? And so I want to finally end with saying, as all of these opportunities is also going on, is also curating a new opportunity for the African talent, who is going to be the one to sell his service to these global places, and to this global market, and to this new market that is being created. This is just what I would like to add. Sorry, time is time is out of I'm out of time, but thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ubio. This is so enlightening.
Welcome.
And thank you for sharing from your wealth of experience and knowledge. I know that this is your habitat. This is where you play your game. I mean, other people can do anything in other places, but when it comes to the whole digital workplace, when it comes to workspace, this is your forte. It is where you turn your wine, and I'm really excited to have learned about the perspective. And I mean, I was writing down. I mean, first of all, was when you spoke about people changing their business model from what they have been doing since before the pandemic. So he mentioned that, listen, whatever it is you are doing before the pandemic, if you are still doing that by now, then you are completely out of touch with reality. Some other person thing that he also mentioned that came out so strongly for me was when he said that, economies that are always import dependent will always end up also importing the problems of other people. So you are importing, thinking that you're importing solutions only, but then you're also importing their political problems, economic problems, because those things are affecting what they give to you, which you eventually bring back into your country. That's that very strong for me. And lastly, before, I know there are a lot of things, I have a lot of talking points that I put out here, but something he said, made a lot of sense. And I want you to just spotlight on that. That was when you said that remote work has now become part of organizational strategy. I wanted you to just spotlight that a bit, because I'm hearing that for the very first time, and I was trying to reflect on it. And because I'm like, okay, could it be that now organizations, part of their strategy now is also to incorporate that there is a part of what we are doing that has to involve remote working? You want to spend 1 minute or so to just talk about that?
Yeah. So as an organizational strategy, it means that companies are now beginning to think of this thing we are doing. How can we stay here and save it to somebody out there? So people are now beginning to do, what is the remote experience of going to club? So I work on a lot of fascinating projects every year. So I've seen a lot. We currently have a client that came to us. They're trying to create where people will be able to do digital. How do they call it? Virtual VR parties.
Oh, virtual reality.
So this is a company, they were into parties and all of that. So you see, this is why I said, if you're still thinking, you're still here trying to play catch up, they've left you. The people that are going to be winning your industry have left you. These guys, they are a Nigerian company, but they realize that, wow, people want to connect. Friday is terrible, insecurity, this or that, but still people want to connect. It's what makes us humans, right? They are currently working on a virtual reality party kind of structure where people will be able to party from their rooms. People will be able to party from their homes. It's happening. So if you're not sitting down and beginning to think, what is the remote experience of this physical thing that we do? I'm a doctor, yes. That's a physical experience. What's the remote experience of this activity and endeavor that we are doing, right? Before now, we used to go to, as speakers, we have to go to events and talk, right? But now, look at the virtual experience. This is a remote expression of that. So that conversation was only to prime and ask the minds of the people that are listening to this conversation to ask themselves, what is the remote expression of that Akara business that I am doing? That's just the simple thing. And sometimes the remote experience could just be you curating ingredients for people and getting money. What is the remote experience of that very traditional thing that you are doing? The world has changed and we can't go back no matter how we try.
Whoa, thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much. It's been a very, very enlightening. Thank you so much for everything that you shared with us here. It's really, really, really good. Thank you for sharing. Guys, I don't know if someone asked a question. Someone said, I think there was something you said, and I think that it was when you mentioned about people importing other people's political problems, and somebody dropped on the comment section, he said, He said, does this mean that the current condition of the country, I don't know the country the person is talking about anyway, but they said, does it mean that the current condition of the country will lead to an evolution of another era? And
Well, it depends on if we break the constant of proportionality, then maybe it does. But you see, humans don't break it on a country base. We break it on a global base. So whatever is going to make humans to enter into a new era does not happen just to you that is staying in Liberia, just because you stay in Nigeria, just because you stay in Ghana. No, it doesn't have. And then just to add, that's a very strong question, but I'm trying to see how I can answer it from an overview. Just to add to that, there are also what we call, wow, can I make this statement? There are also what we call continental world powers, right? The fact that if something happened to you in your local Okokomaiko, wherever you stay, it affects nothing globally. So Ebola, for example, did not end up being a pandemic, even when it was much more serious than COVID-19. Why COVID-19 became a global pandemic was because it came from China. If Ebola came from China, it would have become a global pandemic. But Ebola does not have the capacity to become a global pandemic because it came from Liberia. So a lot of things that actually will affect humanity, most times their power structure, their power center, their places where these things come from. And I bet you most of the African countries, I can't see anyone that have that capacity where things will so happen to us. In fact, the things that are happening to us here, if these things happen in some of the first world country, it's going to be a global, like the whole world will come to a pause. But we don't have that capacity.
thank you so much, Ubio. I mean, time is fast spent. Thank you for the insights. Thank you so very much. Guys, just before we let Ubio to go, Ubio runs another platform called Remote Start, and Ubio, tell us a little bit about Remote Start and part of that big community.
Yeah, so I'm the CEO of Remostat. You can just check www.remostat, REMOSTARTS.com. Remostat is we started as being an inclusive hiring platform. So we started by trying exporting talents from Africa regions that are probably not focused, right, and exporting those talents and selling it, quote unquote, to the global world, right? So that's what we started with. But now Remostat is pivoting more. We are now like an inclusive ecosystem where where resources and tools that are needed for companies and startups to grow is actually being provided. So if you're a startup as well, you may want to check out Remostat and how we can help. We'll give you the tools, we'll give you the resource. So the resource, if the talent is the resource, we'll provide for you. If the tool is a resource, we'll provide as well to you. Different tools. We even have an ecosystem where we help startups get access to funding. A lot of things we are doing. So, and there are tools from AI tools to different tools. So we are now like an ecosystem that is providing resources and tools to help organizations and startups to grow. And if you're a talent and you want to be a resource for most of the global talent communities, global businesses, you may also want to check on our platform, sign up as a talent, and then register. We have tools. We have a lot of tools as well. You can check when you log into our platform. You see some AI tools that help you to analyze your CV. It helps you to before you go for interview, you can go in, use our free tools, and then prepare for any interview. So we have a lot of tools that we do put inside our platform that may be relevant to you as a talent, and also tools and resources for you as a startup and an ecosystem. So any of the ones, you just go into Remostat, go to our different groups. We also have our links, and if you want to join any specific group as well, just send a message to info@remostat.com, and we'll give you the link to those to the specific community that speaks to what you want.
All right, thank you so much. If you have a question, please follow Raymond Stats on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, and ask all your questions. Send them email at info@remostats.com. You're gonna get all those guys. Thank you so much. And hopefully, if you are part of the people that will be coming to Rwanda next month conference, we will also get to see you and then get to provide more premium support and support you. Thank you so much, Uke, and the back end. Thank you so very much. All
Thank
right,
you.
guys. So quite an experience. First, again, I want to say a very big thank you to everyone who has been here. It's been way over 2 hours. I know that a greater part of the first hour was spent trying to fix the technical issues and then trying to sort all the technical issues out. And then we had Mary and Ella come on here just to stand in for me, depending when I am able to, take the seat and pilot these affairs. Guys, I know that you guys have gotten quite a lot of knowledge today. Tomorrow is going to be fire for fire. Now, tomorrow, I'm not going to be doing a lot of talking tomorrow. I'm going to come fully prepared. I'm going to come fully energized. I'm going to come here and we're going to give a lot of value. Tomorrow, we'll be having the founder of Go Nomad, Uke Enun, who will be coming here to share how you can actually, Uke will be talking essentially on Uke will be talking on tomorrow. What time tomorrow? Yeah, on digital businesses. Uke will be talking on digital business models for the future, how to build location independent companies. Guys, you don't want to miss that experience with Uke. We will also be having Tia talking about borderless marketing, how to leverage digital tools to grow your business beyond Africa. Guys, you don't want to miss that opportunity. And lastly, we'll be having my coach and mentor who will also be coming here to talk about mastering business growth in uncertain markets, strategies for African entrepreneurs, talking about Ezekiel Solesi, the founder of Lim Simple company. So tomorrow is going to be fully packed. It's like going to be the grand finale. When they are playing Champions League and they are the group stages, the semi-final, quarterfinals, and all that, and then you now have the grand finale where the trophy will be given. Guys, tomorrow we're going to start at exactly 7 p.m. and we're going to come fully prepared. Please set your notification icon and we are going to give it back to back tomorrow. Thank you so much. And I also want to say a very big thank you to my friends, of course, for standing in. Thank you to everyone who joined Smashbook with Miracle Ambassadors Design, all the people that I'm seeing here. Thank you so very much, everyone. Just before we go, I'm going to allow Great Darling to play our ads, the ads for the Rwandan event. I've told you guys, you cannot afford to miss that meeting for anything because that is the future. You want to be able to, I was speaking somewhere today, I was telling them that our lives is going to be dependent on how we are able to leverage on the people, places, and events that we have in our lives. And so you need to connect to the right people. There are some people, the next phase of your life will be dependent on conversations that you have not started. So you want to be able to reach out and find those people who are going to embrace you, provide you with support for you to grow. So people, places, and events. If you have to move from where you are, of course, we're going to talk more about that tomorrow. And then lastly, events. So the Youthspark meeting is such that has changed a lot of people's lives, changed a lot of businesses, and helped people with great support system to grow in what they are doing. The fee is $1,200, and it includes your flight ticket, return flight ticket from wherever country you are coming from in Africa. By the way, someone reached out to ask about, if you can come from Malaysia. Now, now, if you're coming from Malaysia, then you have to send us a DM and we will give you all the details on how we can make that happen for you. But then the fee is $1,200 for people who are in Africa, living within the African, sub region, and then it covers your 5 nights accommodation, your feeding per day, 3 square meals, full board feeding for those 5 days, fully customized T-shirt by Youthspark Pan Africa. I also mentioned that you have an opportunity to have direct interaction with at least 2 ministers in Rwanda. We'll be visiting some very, very remarkable and notable institutions where you can learn and, gain experiences, and also find ways to build collaborations with all the amazing things that are happening in the nation of Rwanda. And lastly, I talked about 2 additional value that we're adding in this next edition. One of them is that we will be having this event hold in 2 different locations within those 5 days. So the first 2 days will be happening in a different location, while we'll move the event to another location on the remaining 3 days. And lastly, we will be giving out souvenirs, Rwandan souvenirs, to all participants who will be attending. The fee is $1,200 and it covers your flight ticket. Let me also say that if you are a founder, a community leader who leads a community of digital entrepreneurs, remote workers, and freelancers, and you have a community of at least 500, 1,000 and above community leaders who are very active in your community, you also stand a chance to win an all-expense-paid trip to Rwanda to attend the Youthspark meeting from the 25th to 30th of November. Just send us a DM that you have a community of 500 or 1,000, of these people in this demographic, freelancers, digital entrepreneurs, and remote workers. And we will see how we can support you to make your global dream a reality. All right, guys. Thank you so much, everyone who has been here. And I'll see you again. Great darling. Take it away by.
Hi everyone, my name is Ezekiel Solesi. I'm from Nigeria and I'm currently at the Youthspark and African Conference happening in Kigali, Rwanda. What has the Youthspark and African Conference taught me? Oh my God, it has been an exciting opportunity learning about the people of Rwanda. I've learned about the volunteerism traits of the Rwandans. I've also learned about the communal community service, the umuganda that happens here in Rwanda. And I can tell you very honestly that if you want to be at the Youthspark and African Conference for next year, you should definitely get your ticket because it's going to be an amazing, enlightening opportunity. I can't wait to see some of you next year. Bye. Hi everyone, my name is Ubio Obu. I'm from Nigeria and I'm currently at the Youthspark and African Conference happening in Kigali.